Hi, my name is Chantal Comeau and I'm an English teacher at École Mathieu-Martin, and today's pedagogical capsule is on predictions. One thing that most people attempt to do while watching a movie or even reading poetry, or especially definitely reading books, is to see if they can guess what's going to happen later, obviously based on something concrete. So we'll be asking you to do this for the book project, as well as several other times during the semester with other things. And the predictions, we really would like for you to follow the pattern A and B, so you can guess something, suppose, think, suspect, or assume something. Then this here needs to be very specific, related to the story. So if you're reading a science fiction book, there's a little bit of flexibility. If you're reading a non-fiction book, something that actually happened, well then you would still need to be specific, but it needs to be in line with everything that you're already reading. And then of course, I say this because you give the chapter, you give the event, and then it's based on proof. One activity as well that's very interesting is once predictions are made, whether it be in writing or a speaking activity, but it's much easier in writing, to return weeks later and then compare what you thought was going to happen to what actually happened. And then that comparison can be made at a later time to see how everything kind of comes together. So the next part of the video, I've decided to choose a couple of projects. I went into my files and I chose two examples to read to you. And always making sure that we follow the pattern, I think that, I say this because. Even if it feels repetitive, it's necessary to follow that to make sure that you're getting all your points and that your answer is complete. The first project that I'm going to read to you is a non-fiction book, so this really happened. It's a personal testimony. The title of the book is A Child Called It, and it's about a little boy growing up who's being physically abused by his mother. So we have two predictions on the page, and this person made 100, the grade that the person got. First prediction. I am assuming that the punishments given to the main character by the mother are going to get much worse. I say this because at first, from pages 29 to 34, the mother simply made him go into a corner. Later, she then smashes his face, and even later still, from pages 42 to 60, she won't even give him food to eat. So if this is already happening by page 60 and the book is 200 pages long, the student is predicting that it is consistently going to get worse and worse. And it does. Okay, second prediction. I also predict that the mother and the father are going to get divorced because they seem to fight constantly and never show any affection toward each other. We see this on page 32 when the father begins staying in a hotel for nights at a time. This is definitely strong proof that they're going to continue being separate. Okay, each on their own way. The second example is also a 100. This is a science fiction book, so there's a little bit more flexibility here with your predictions. As long as it's in line with everything that's been happening so far, you should be good to go. And I believe that's all you need to know to be able to follow the predictions. Okay, I think Hazel, that's the main character, I think that Hazel is going to have another lung episode and that she'll stay all trip long at the Amsterdam hospital. So that is the prediction. Now we have the support to follow. I say this because in chapter 2, Augustus is really worried and angry that he's wasted his wish to bring Hazel to a different hospital. So I believe there's some information here that's previously stated in the project. So it does fit for the project. My second prediction is I think Peter Van Houten is going to come to see the main character and answer all of her questions. I'm saying this because the author in chapter 6 included the doctors talking, and the doctor said that she couldn't go on this trip. But then eventually, after hesitating, they decided they would let her go. So those are two predictions. Making sure that you always follow the pattern. I assume, I guess, I think. I say this because, including a chapter or some kind of proof from the story. And remember that your proof can be paraphrased with a chapter, or you can copy directly, whatever's easiest for you, depending on how you're taking your notes. To conclude, this wraps up the pedagogical capsule today on predictions.